Hey, welcome back. You're watching Centerline Designs. My name's Cole if you're new to the channel, and we're getting out of the shop today. This is probably going to be a bit of a lengthy project, but I plan on trying to show it all in one video. And we need to make room in the back here. We're buying a 40-foot shipping container. That's going to help provide some space to store all of our junk that's underneath our house for when we finally do our house lift. We were supposed to be doing that this year, but it's just not going to probably happen until next year. So over the years, I've sort of kept making this area bigger and bigger. It's sort of my back 40, so to speak, and it's where I store any junk I accumulate. To get the container in here, we have a decent amount of earth to move, nothing too fancy, but we have mini equipment to do it with. I got my little Cat 1.8 ton over here, and over behind the camera, we have the mini dump truck. So it's gonna be kind of fun. We gotta do some digging of the dirt. We're gonna bring some blast rock in, pack that down, make a nice base, probably some concrete piers to hold the four corners of the 40-foot shipping container. And then in the future, down the road, I would love to get a covered area off one side of the container and just give a nice dry space out of the weather to store the excavator, mini truck, quad, you know, whatever other toys I accumulate in that time. But before we get to digging, we got a big pile of mostly dead spruce trees behind us and one poplar that I absolutely do not trust. I've been wanting to take this tree down for quite a while because these things are famous to get rotten in the center, snap off, and crash on whatever you have below them. So we're going to be taking that poplar out, that spruce, balsam, yeah, more spruce and balsams. There's all the dead ones are going to be taken out. We're going to be going about 10 to 12 feet back in that corner, and we're going to be digging down, oh, I don't know, 6 to 8 feet probably. All that material we dig out is just extra flat dry space that I get to create because we're pretty low to the lake we live on here, and in really, really high water, I have seen the water come up a little bit. But we also need to put a bunch of dirt back behind that mini truck and round off the corner because as it stands, I don't think we can get a 40-foot container in here. So I plan on opening up that corner a fair bit, lay some crushed rock down on it. Yeah, should be pretty entertaining. We gotta knock down trees, move dirt with miniature equipment. All right, let's get back to it. Well, it happened again. Like with most projects I start, I get so excited and want to just get going on them that I often don't think at the beginning may be the best, and this situation was no different. I was so eager to jump on this machine and start playing in the dirt and knocking trees down that I didn't realize I was making a pretty good mess on this clean 2- gravel I put down a couple of years back. So I figured it was time to switch gears a little bit, and move the trees away and start trying to reclaim a bit of this rock, because it's not all that cheap. So I tried my best to start separating out with the bucket I had on, and then I switched gears to the push blade and started doing that, and then a little bit later on I finally changed gears to my cleanup bucket to really kind of separate the layers there. So yeah, that's how she goes, eh? Sometimes you just want to get going and don't stop to take the time to think about the best course of action. But doing this gave me some good time to think about my next moves and try and plan out the dirt that we had to move ahead of us. I know it's not any kind of monumental amount or anything, but given the equipment I was using, we did pretty good. Alright, I gave up with the blade. I went down, got my 30-inch ditching bucket, and I'm going to finish scraping all of this 2- off. I should really attempt to save it. You know, it's not all that cheap. Well, we got most of the big trees down here, and I'm not really gonna worry about scraping the topsoil off. All this fill is just getting dumped over into the swamp and kind of opening up the corner of the road in here, so I'm really not worried about some topsoil or branches or stuff being in there. It's all just getting dumped to fill a swamp. So I think we're pretty much at the point where we could start hauling with the mini truck. So yeah, let's get at her. All right, well, it was time to take a little break, change some batteries, refuel me, and let's see how we've been doing here. Everywhere in here was kind of swamp. It was mostly dry up here. We have really high water this year, and the water is just starting to encroach on my fill. This area a couple years back, I started to dig into my hillside a little bit, and then I put some 2- rock on there, and it's just sort of been a storage place for campers and steel and, you know, whatever else, just somewhere kind of out of the muck. But since we're bringing this container in, and 40 feet, I'm going to put it right to the back of this filled area, so it's actually going to end somewhere up here. It's not going to come all the way to the end. This is closer to 50-60 feet long. Now, I haven't quite decided on the angle I want on this yet. The way I'm seeing it right now is I might put a little bit more angle on this and kick the back corner into the hillside, but I'm going to continue with the angle I'm on, and then I can carve away at the hill with my ditching bucket, and that's going to leave a nice little sharp edge. And my plan is we'll drop the container in on timbers, and then we'll slide it over once we're satisfied, and then we can jack it up, pull the timbers out, and it'll sit on 4 concrete pads. And then we'll lay some weeping tile in around the backside and fill it in with crushed rock. My neighbor did kind of a similar thing, and he said he tarred the outside of the container, and he said he hasn't seen any kind of issues with it since. So I'll probably do the same thing. We'll get it unloaded, I'll tar it, and then we'll slide it in and take care of all the backfill. Like I say, someday the goal might be to put some trusses off there to just an open wall, and then it'll just sort of be a nice overhanging shaded area, and I can keep all my equipment, you know, out of the elements. If you're down south, the sun kicks it up here, the sun, and then the winters kick everything. So I'll give you a little closer look at my mini dump truck here. If you are new to my channel, I have a whole playlist featuring this little mini dump truck. I imported this thing, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, and I bought it when it was still sitting in Japan. A guy brought it in for me, brought it in through Vancouver and all the way to me. And we use this in the wintertime with tracks. I have several truck videos driving around everywhere. And I did a dump box conversion on it, because although you can get these with dump boxes, this one didn't have one. But there's something becoming very apparent, which I totally know what was going to happen. The box is really, really light duty, and what we're doing is a little bit too much for it. As you can see, it hasn't taken long. You can see the dips in the bed. That side's not bowed out yet. This side sure is. So I'm totally okay with that, because I knew putting this box back on, it was just going to get destroyed, but I wasn't ready to make a new one yet. So I figured, hey, why not beat this up? I'm never going to use it again. So I've gotten a few years out of it. This is definitely the hardest work it has seen. So I definitely can tell that in an upcoming video, we're going to build a new dump box for this, and I may even get it galvanized. So maybe I can do a tour of a hot galvanizing facility. I don't know, we'll see. There's definitely some things going to be happening with this. It's just telling me that clearly I need to build a dump box for this. And the beauty of this is we're working out a lot of these kinks before we do our house lift. I know if you've been subscribed to my channel for a little bit, I mentioned that house lift was coming this year. It's not, for a variety of reasons, and that's fine. We're happy. We're going to push it off to next year. There's no massive rush for it, so we don't want to stress ourselves out. We want to take some time. We'll do it when the time is right, but I'm working out kinks, because this is going to be a key player in our house lift for doing all of our footings and everything like that, moving this clay material and stone and gravel around. So, you know, I'm showing that I really do need to get that box built before we lift our house. Alrighty, well, as usual, I've probably talked a lot, and it's time to go push some of that dirt we've been dumping up there into the corner. I'm trying to open that corner up or make it less sharp, because when the guy's backing the container in, I figure it's too tight right now. He'll never get it down here, so because there's a little bit of an S-turn he has to do. So I'm going to go ahead, we'll push that in, and we'll get ready, and I might even have my wife coming down to do a little dump truck driving for me, so that'll be good. She should enjoy that. All right, well, I got to give my wife credit on this one. She did pretty good with this mini dump truck. She's not used to driving a standard, let alone a standard on the wrong side, and she took to it like nothing. I think she really enjoyed herself getting to drive this dump truck all day for me. And not only did it speed up moving this dirt, but I think we both really enjoyed getting to do a project like this together. It's not often we get to do stuff like this together. Usually it's just one of us. For those of you that don't know, we do have a daughter with some pretty major medical issues. It's pretty high needs, and that often consumes one of us most of the time. So for us to get to do a project like this away from the kids, yeah, we really enjoyed it. I know she did too, and she did great. Always landed that dump truck exactly where I needed it, so kudos to her. All right, and our first problem of the mission here. We just tossed that front track. I heard a stone get in there and derailed it off of the idler, the tensioner there. So we're gonna back this out, and we're gonna pull the grease out, push it back in, and get that track back on. Oh, we are working an absolute gumbo here now. But luckily, as we kind of walked that out, I happened to push the track back on. However, I think it needs a little more grease in there. So we're gonna go get some grease and tension that up a little bit. All right, well, that's looser than it should be. There's our grease nipple. Let's tighten up this track a little bit. There we go. Track tightened. Perfect. All right, well, we avoided, I don't know. we avoided, we avoided calamity on that one. Time to get back digging in our soup hole. So here's the dirt we're working in. Like 2 inches of topsoil, and then this light brown absolute gumbo clay. When this stuff gets wet, it turns into snot. And then underneath, more of a gray clay that's pretty crumbly. It gets pretty sticky too when wet, but because of the other layers, that stuff never usually gets wet. All right, well, we've kind of set this back line here. And that's really, I don't know if you can see, I have an orange mark right up there, but we're gonna go straight in there and square out, and then I'm gonna clean up the bank going back out. And we have a bit of a muck hole here right now because I started that the other day, and I don't know where it's like where you are, but we have just battling the rain this year. So that's a bit gumbo, and I'm hoping as I pull some of this bank down, I'll mix in some dry material, and then this is eventually going to get a bunch of heavy blast rock on it. Yeah, so that's going pretty well. It's fun having a dump truck driver. We have pretty nicely filled in this corner, and we're going to pack that in a bit, let it dry out, and smooth it all off. And then we're putting blast on there, and then some like 1/2 inch A-base on top of that, like the rest of the driveway. So this will make a nice swoop and curve coming in, and we're already starting to stockpile here, because once we burn off some of this brush, we'll just keep filling out that way and give more storage spot. Where we are, flat space can be hard to come by, so digging into this hill and then using that fill to add more horizontal storage space is really the key out here. Well, there you have it. We're not done yet, but things have gone really well. I mean, we dug a hole into a hillside using miniature equipment. Works really good. So yeah, we're almost there. I kind of ran this line. I want to sneak up on it. I didn't want to go too far, but I was shooting for that bush kind of right there, the edge of these little balsams. And what I'm noticing here when I look at it is, you know, if I line my arm up, I'm looking at the excavator and these poplars over here. But I think I want to be looking at more that way. So you see that triangle? We need to take that into this hillside a little more. So I think we're going to go about another 2 feet into the hill in the corner and then taper off to the excavator. So we'll just dig back into here a little more, and then we're aiming more towards the side of this dirt pile, which lends itself for just a nice arc to back trailers in versus like a double jog. That's all right. It's really fun doing this. I know it's just miniature equipment, but it's a ton of fun, and it honestly does feel like I'm mining gold or something here, but I'm literally playing in a clay pit. As soon as it rains, this turns into absolute mud. And then we're going to lay some heavy blast on this, compact it, settle that blast into the clay, and then it kind of locks up. And then we're going to put some A-base, some 1/2 inch crush on top of that and pack it as well. And then without it getting wet, that clay turns into concrete, and I think we'll be good to go. Will there be frost heaving on the container in the future? It's always a possibility. Our frost can go down to 4 feet at times. Probably the hillside won't get that deep because we're already about 6 in it, but yeah, it's always a risky play. I probably should put big pilings in for it, but I'm not doing that. I'm not worrying about it. So yeah, let's see, let's take a look at the old pile of dirt that the wife's been dumping. Well, that's not a tiny bit of dirt. That's easily 20 yards. That's pretty good. We moved a lot of dirt today. Not to mention that, plus a good portion of this. Like it honestly looks like maybe 2, I don't know, 15 to 18 yard dump trucks dumped here. Maybe they're a little smaller, so I'm gonna call that at least 20 yards and probably another 5 up there. So we probably moved 25 yards of dirt. I do know that it's about 30 scoops with the excavator to fill that mini truck with a 16-inch bucket on this 1.8 cat, and that's a cat bucket, came with the machine. So I don't know, I'm not sure what the yardage on that bucket is. It's some small fraction, but anyways, the wife had to go take the kids to baseball, so I'm just gonna start cleaning up that roadway and get ready to put some blast on it. We have some blast here, some crush and some sand, and then I gotta make a call and order some more blast, because around here we live on the Canadian Shield, and any rock you get, more or less in our area, has to be blasted out of a hillside. So yeah, we don't just dig rocks out of the ground. But anyways, let's get to it. Probably not quite, but actually just, you can shut it off for now. Well, I'd say that's another successful day dirt moving. I know Dad had a bunch of fun. He helped me do quite a few loads there, and then we even got some blast and crushed rock in the part of my driveway there that we were opening up. Yeah, we're doing really good. We got to be at least 6, maybe slightly more than 6 feet in the back corner down. I could potentially clean the edge up a little bit, I'm hoping, and my plan is the shipping container will come in, we'll set it down a little ways away because I'm going to tar the sides and back of it, and then I'm going to set it down on timbers. I have tons of 16-foot timbers for our house lift, and then we're just going to lard up the timber and push it in, and then lift it with some high lift jacks, pull the timbers out, and set it down on 4 concrete pads. So I think that's going to work out really good. I was debating putting a bunch of blast down there, like I said, but the more I'm thinking about it, I really don't need to. I think I'm pretty much going to dig down in some nice concrete footers, you know, maybe 2x2x10 or something really big, heavy, spread out the weight. We'll mark out and square up the 4 corners, and then we'll put those concrete pads in, make sure that they're all level to one another. We'll set the transit up, shoot it, and we'll be pretty well set up. So that'll be good. We can get the container here soon. There's really no need wasting that blast under there. Like the guy said who's gonna sell it to me, he said you really only need to support the 4 corners. That's how they're built. They don't need any support underneath. So yeah, we're almost there. I think the groundwork's basically done other than some cleanup, and boy did we move a lot of dirt. I think now we're closer to 50 yards with that miniature equipment. It's pretty cool. And we even got a ramp. We were dumping off that ramp all day. We made a pretty good dent in our A-base pile, 1/2-inch crush, and a bunch of blast we used up. And look at this ramp. Pretty good. Again, it's not breaking any records, but for miniature equipment, like, that's more dirt than you think. I really kind of got into the thought there that for every cubic foot or square foot I dig out, I really gain 2 square feet of horizontal space, because a foot of dirt out plus that foot of dirt backfilled somewhere. So not only am I using the material I have, but we're gaining a lot more area, which is great because I just plan on storing more junk. This is where we were filling. I think I showed you before. The road ended about here, and we put down a lot of nice like 6- blast, you know, good 6 inches of that, one layer, and then I topped it with a bunch of A-base here. It's not done. It could use some more down here, but I want to get my packer back. If only I had a packer. It's just not here. And we'll pack this in and then probably put another final coat of A-base on and blend it into the rest of the driveway. And yeah, that should open that up quite a bit. So when that container comes in, I got a tight 90 right there. So it's got to come in and then swing down and in. I'm fairly certain without some special high-tech trailer, you wouldn't have got that container in. But that should help out a lot. There you have it. Dirt work's basically done. It's really not too bad as far as level goes either. I think I have a high spot kind of in the back over here, and then it dips into that corner, but overall that's pretty nice. Well, that concludes day 3, and I think that's probably going to be enough for this video. So in the next video we'll put in the concrete pads that the container will sit on and do a little more cleanup. We'll get the container in, put that tar on it, slide it into place, set it down, put some weeping tile and backfill around the 2 sides, and maybe make a nice little road up there. And yeah, I think this is going to be a 2-part video. So dirt work's basically complete. I think we got enough footage to call it a video. And then yeah, next video will be some action with the container showing up. So that feels good. Quite a few hours on. All right, if you've stuck with me for this long, I really do appreciate it. We're out of the shop doing some other things, and if you like this kind of content, let me know. I mean, the Snowcat stuff seems to be going really well. That Snowcat build's pretty cool, and a lot of you are very supportive on that. And if you like some of the other content that I put out, we can do more of that too. So yeah, thank you again, and we'll see you in the next part.